Looking at the market today, it's taken an absolute dump and we're down to the $32,000 mark. We do see a potential capitulation point forming around that $30,000 mark for Bitcoin. This is a general market update for Bitcoin. This is the time around the world right now. And look, we are seeing that there have been some money leaving out of Bitcoin. It signals that institutions are bearish on Bitcoin. Ooh, guys, this is, yes, like I understand it's leaving and like you should be worried and stuff. But look at this, like Ethereum is still strong in the last week. There's money that actually went in. There's a net outflow of $94 million. But let me be really open with you guys, right? Like that's, yeah, like I can see Ethereum obviously kicking ass, it's doing well. But what I want to compare these numbers to, and just be careful because some of these news reports can be really blown out of proportions for the viewership. So if this is Bitcoin treasuries, which is the amount of Bitcoin that's been held by publicly listed companies, and you can see that they hold a grand total of about 7.82%, which is slightly down from the 8% mark that we've been recently seeing. And you can see that they hold a total today's value of about $54 billion out of all the reported publicly listed company holdings. Now, 141 million is a record outflow, but overall, that's kind of not that much. It's literally a droplet in the ocean. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money for you and I because we're poor and little, but I don't think this is a huge deal. And in fact, this is probably a form of a manipulation where then we're going to see the price of Bitcoin probably dip even further down that $32,000 mark. So here we have it, guys. We're still traveling within that channel. It's in that bottom end there. Look, we know that Justin Sun has bought a bunch at 35,000. Some institutionals are leaving because just before this dip, and this is probably followed that because guys like you and me, we get the FUD and then we just jump out. But look, the capitulation point may form around that $30,000 mark, which is a psychological barrier, or on that $28,000, $29,000 mark, which is in that previous double bottom rejection that we've seen back in the beginning of this year. So this is almost expected, and I'm not really too fussed about it. So that has left, but that was part of the cycle. And if we look at the grand picture, it's actually not a big chunk that has left yet. Moving forward, there was a very interesting comment by Donald Trump, says that Bitcoin seems like a scam. He's a very patriotic man, isn't it? He said, I don't like it because it's another currency competing against the dollar. I want the dollar to be the currency of the world. That's what I've always said. So very patriotic man to this effect, of course, but a lot of the investors are sort of laughing at how simple this remark is. And 99% of the world being very, very simple people might have taken this into account, and that's why the price may have dipped so hard. But more on the big boy side of things. So Microstrategy is the company that holds the most number of Bitcoin in the world. So as a publicly listed company. So a lot of people think that Tesla holds the most number of Bitcoin, but actually not. Microstrategy beats Tesla by twice as much as how much Tesla holds in today's value. So having said that, what Microstrategy is doing is really, really important. The difference between why Microstrategy's latest 400 million Bitcoin buy is different from the others, well, I can tell you one difference. It doesn't have a crazy CEO like Tesla does, right? So prices of MicroStrategy stocks bonds dipped on the news, which is interesting. But regardless of that, we want to see what the move this company is making. The cloud software company MicroStrategy announced today that it intends to buy an additional 400 million in Bitcoin and add to the 92,000 Bitcoin, 3.3 billion it already holds in its treasury right now. So what's the logic behind that? There's been a big dip on Bitcoin since its high back in May to where it is now, and it will probably dip even further. But that being said, MicroStrategy purchases Bitcoin at average of $24,450 per Bitcoin. So even with the Bitcoin's downfall, MicroStrategy is still on $1+ billion in unrealized gains, obviously before taxes. MicroStrategy's CEO, Michael Saylor, isn't about to sell, right? Like Tesla did. It sold 1.5 billion of Bitcoin in investments just to prove liquidity. I didn't know anyone gave Elon that job to do, but he did that just to show that prove Bitcoin's liquidity. Sure, but it's not going to do any of that. He was at the Bitcoin 2021 conference, of course, last weekend and hugged Bitcoin podcaster Max Keiser after Keiser screamed, "We're not selling F Elon." And look, the publicly traded company already has an estimated 72% of its treasury in Bitcoin. And look, more companies are going to follow that. Interesting to note, Tyler Winklevoss, right, of the Winklevoss twins, they are holding Bitcoin for as long as it will go to $500,000, that it will 10x and it's not going to let go of. And they've held for much longer than the price that it is now today. So what is their ideology behind it? They're saying that, well, publicly listed companies and institutionals own Bitcoin. So does that mean there are going to be more companies that are going to own Bitcoin or less companies that are going to own Bitcoin in the future? Well, their idea is that it's going to be on more companies, and more publicly listed companies are going to be owning Bitcoin. So with that in mind, they are very bullish and they're going to continue to hold it. And 72% of its treasury in Bitcoin is quite a significant amount. And the way they're doing it is by raising bonds, because bonds is cheaper than the estimated gain that they think they will make on Bitcoin. So they further added that with this additional purchase, it'll further tie its fortune to Bitcoins. Expect more purchases to come, of course. So guys, that's just a quick update on Bitcoin. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts on Bitcoin. Thank you so much for visiting my channel today. If you haven't done so, please go like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you with some more news on cryptocurrencies and other investment asset news tomorrow. See you next time.